Hello. So you're welcome to our second section for lesson 3 in understanding yourself. And in this section, we'll be talking about what drives you, and we'll be talking about your strengths, and we'll be talking about your weaknesses. So how to manage your weaknesses and how to improve on your strengths. So let me start with what drives you. Drive is simply your motivation for doing something. It's simply the why as to the reason why you do something. So understanding your motivation in doing whatever you do is going to help you understand yourself better. You're getting into a relationship. Why are you getting into that relationship? Don't ever do anything without asking yourself why you're doing it, because if you know why you're doing something, it's going to enable you to know the path you're going to take, and it's going to help you walk away when you have to. It's going to help you say no when you have to. It will direct your path. It will keep you on the path of which you chose to walk on. So there's nothing to be ashamed of. We all have what drives us, so down to the very selfish reasons. So if in case the reason of which you do something, you find out is selfish, there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to feel bad about, okay? We're all humans, okay? We don't like this ugly part of ourselves, but it's there and we ought to know it. We ought to, be proud of it. It's part of you. They take it off, you probably be feeling empty in some way. So what are those things that drive you? What is very important is that you know what drives you, so you can align yourself properly to your vision or to your goal or to the well, whatever you wanted to do, that made for that drive. Okay, so I read a book sometime, and the book is written by Bette David, and the title of the book is Your Next Five Move. And I want to share some of the things he talked about in that book. The four categories of drive. So I want to share that with you real quick. So he talked about the first category, which is advancement. You could be driven by advancement, and that includes you're driven by promotion. Maybe in your place of work, you want to get promoted, so you do things in order to get promoted. You're driven by completing a task. You just have a task at hand, you want to complete it, so that's why you're doing that thing, and that's why you're motivated. You want to complete that task. So that completion of that task is serving as a motivation for you to do all you need to do to complete it. And then meeting a deadline. Okay, there's some persons that will never be motivated until it's like 2 days to the deadline of the project, or it's like one day to the deadline of the project. That's when they're going to be motivated to do it. I'm guilty. I am guilty as charged. Okay, there was this time we were supposed to have a project presentation in my class, in my department, and they paired me up with one other girl. The lady is very articulate. She likes to plan her life. Me, I was impulsive then. I will not do something until the night to the day. So we were doing this thing, and at the end of the day, we ended up presenting two different things because I submitted mine late. I sent mine to her late, and it was a disaster. She got upset with me. She was very angry. And you know what's funny? I defended it better because that's my area of strength. I love to talk. That's what I do for a living. But then she was struggling because I sent it to her late, and she didn't have the time to go through it. So she struggled, and it was my fault, but I came out the best. And she got disappointed. I apologized to her countless times. I don't know if she has forgiven me yet, but I think she has forgiven me. Don't try that. Okay, so what is your motivation? Okay, meeting a deadline, yeah, could actually serve as a motivation. You will have a lot of things to do, but you don't want to do them until it's like 2 to 3 days, or it's like even an hour to when you're supposed to submit that thing. That's when you start running helter skelter. Be careful. Okay, so reaching a goal can serve as a motivation. You want to write a book, so you are waking up 3 a.m. to sit down. You want to see that you accomplish that goal. That could serve as a motivation. There are a lot of them, but I'll just take this few ones. So the second category of drive is individuality. What drives you? That is the first one on the list is lifestyle. There are a lot of persons that do things to maintain the quality of lifestyle that they already portray. So you know that you don't have money, but because you've put up that visage of you being wealthy, you tend to borrow to make you look like you have money, whereas you don't have. But you're trying to keep up with that lifestyle you've already created. Most times online, most times celebrities are falling prey to this particular one. Um, in order to maintain that lifestyle, that's identity. You tend to do things you don't even want to do. You borrow, you do this one, and it's not really necessary, but that serves as a motivation. So if this is you, please call yourself to other. And then we have security. A lot of people do things to feel secure. They want that security. They want that, they want to be stable. So they do things in line that will help them to keep that that stability and that security. So you see that they have an idea to do, or they want to do something, not achieve a goal, but because they are afraid of losing security, they will not want to take the step that is necessary. Some of them stay in jobs they don't like because they want to be secure, because they want to have that salary of every month end. You understand? Security is important, and security is now serving as a motive, a motivation for them to stay in that job, not because they want it, not because they like it, not because, why am I even going too far? Ladies, girls, you girls stay in relationships you don't like simply because that security that the man gives to you. You feel like if you're single, you're not secure. This man cares about me, he loves me, and then he gives me anything I ask for. So this relationship has to continue. Even when he wants to leave you, you don't want to leave him because of what he's giving to you, because of you're too secure. Some married women stay in marriages that they are being abused left and right, not because they want to, but because of the security that comes with, I'm a married woman. I'm not saying they should go and divorce. Right? I'm just saying reevaluate your motivation. Know what your reason for doing something is, okay? And the next thing is recognition. Some people do things just to be recognized. Some people do things just because they want people to know that they're doing things. When I started doing things for girls, at first I was doing it so that I started doing things for girls 2018, yeah. So when I started it, I won this pageant, Miss Bodo City. So I made a promise that I was going to do everything I can to, impart the life of girls in the community. So I started doing things so that people would know that I'm keeping to my promises. People would know that, this girl keeps her word. And that was for recognition. I did it for recognition. And every time I'm doing a project, you're always doing the camera, you're always, let people see that you're actually doing what you said you're going to do. And if we find this as a motivation in our everyday lives. Some celebrities will not give a gift without taking a picture. They're not going to help someone get a scholarship without taking a picture of it. They're doing that for recognition. Their motivation for doing that is recognition, and that's why they often and always have to take pictures of it. So at some point when I reevaluated my values and I was like, oh, okay, why am I even doing this? Like, who cares if I do it or not? I have to. Okay, so some people do things for recognition. Some people do things because they want people to know them, because they want people to know that they're the ones that did that thing. And you notice that some persons are not going to help you unless someone knows about it. Some persons are not going to, they're not going to help you if somebody doesn't know that they've helped you. And even when nobody was there, they're going to tell 1,000 persons that they did this thing. They are the ones that helped you. Those kind of people. They do these things for recognition. Please don't be like that, okay? Okay, so the third category of this one is exhausting, but David, I don't know. I don't know how you came up with this. The third category of motivation, he said madness. Okay, so and I think a lot of people, in fact, most of us fall in this category. And the first thing on the list is opposition. They do things, because there is an opposition. When you tell them they cannot do something, that's people are motivated to do something because you said they can't do it. So they want to prove you wrong. That opposition gives them the motivation, it gives them the fuel to do what they want to do. Okay. The second on the list is competition. People are so competitive. If they're not competing, they're not doing. It almost feels as if everything is competition for them. You're drinking water, they're competing with you. You're doing that one, they're competing. Their life is the motivation of their life is based on competition. And when they're not competing, they're not happy. They're always looking for who to compete with. If they don't compete, they're not doing. Okay. Okay, that's the second thing on the list for madness. The third thing is for power and for fame. They won't do anything without power and without fame. They are doing it because they want power, because they want fame. They are going into political position because they want power and fame. They want to have money because they want power and fame. Everything that they are doing evolves around it. They are singing because they want power and fame. You know, I want to be famous. I want to be powerful. Okay, let's take for instance an idol. You go on Nigerian Idol, you want to display your talent. Why? Because you want to be famous. You go for a beauty pageant. Why? Because you want to be famous. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Okay, there's nothing. These are motivations, and we all have it. I that I'm talking to you, I have it. You that is listening to me, you have it. So there's nothing to be ashamed of. We're just trying to understand ourselves and why we do the things that we do. So there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's no one person who is totally good. There's no one person who is totally bad. We all have a mixture of the two. Okay, it's the negative that makes the positive positive, and it's the positive that makes the negative negative. So I'm not trying to say these things to put you off or to make you feel bad about yourself for having this motivational drives. I'm telling you so that you will be aware that this is your reasons for doing things, and then you probably position yourself or shift your reasons. And you need to understand that over time your reason for doing things evolve. Okay, just like you're growing, your reason for doing things also grow. You shift from one level to another. Okay, so the next thing is proving others wrong. I think I mentioned that in the first place. Proving others wrong. You want to show them that you can do it. You want to show them, all those your uncles and aunties that say you never become anything. You will show them in this life that you can. So because of that, you find yourself, you're going from one competition to another. You're doing this, you're doing that. It's good. Okay, please show them. You want to show all your haters that you want to pepper them. You understand? Okay. We have the next on the list. They do things for mastery. They want to show that they are perfect. They want to show that they can do something. So they do it because they want to show you that they are really good at that which they do. Okay. And then the next thing is a desire to be the best. You know, all those who attempt to break records, you know, Guinness World Book of Record, they do it because they want to break record. They want to be the best in their field, and they want to you know, show everybody that this thing where they do as a bit one. Okay. um but like I said, these reasons evolve over time as you grow. Okay, it's not that everybody who go and break record they do it to show them that they are the best. No, no, that's not. We have different motives, we have different reasons. And that brings me to the last category. The last category is purpose. Okay, so people do things for purpose. Okay, and the first on that list is history. They want to make history. They want to be remembered for something. When they leave the earth, they want to be remembered for doing something. And you can actually do something with a motive, and then later your motive changes, but you've already done that thing. Do you understand? Okay, so some persons do it for impact, some persons do things for impact. I told you before that I was doing pet project because I wanted people to know that I'm keeping to my words, and that was for recognition. Okay, but now I don't do that anymore. I don't do it for when I became Miss when I was when going for pageantries, I was doing it for fame, you know. But now my motives have changed. I now do it for impact. I do it for helping others. I do it because I want to do it. I do it because it is my purpose. I do it because I love to do it, and not for any other external factor. I do it for internal factors. Okay, so that's what the purpose focuses on. You can also do things to help other people. You can do it to help other people. Like some persons Christmas period, they cook and they serve to people, you know, who are needy and who are on the road. You know, they are doing it to help other people. Okay. And then one thing you also need to know is that not you don't do everything or one thing with one motive. There are a combination of different factors, combination of different drives that makes you do one thing. Okay. And then some people do it for change. They do it for change. They do it for enlightenment. You know, they want to enlighten people. They want to, you know, be the change that the world can see. And some people do it for self-actualization, to fulfill themselves, for fulfillment, to make themselves proud, to know that okay, I'm doing something worthwhile with my life. I'm letting my light shine before men, that they will see my work and give glory to my Father who made me. So why do you do the things you do? take out time. If you have to listen to this again, don't rush through it. Listen to it again and find out why you do, what drives you, what motivates you. Okay, that's it for the drive and motivation. But then before I wrap up this session, I'd like us to talk about our strengths. Okay, you went through the session with your temperament. So I'd like you to maybe do a recap on yourself, get to understand your strengths, your level of strength, your weaknesses, your flaws. It will really help you understand yourself better. So while we know that we have strengths, you need to grow on your strengths. Look, if you know that you are a monkey and you know how to climb a tree, you're very good at climbing a tree, there's no need of you trying to learn how to swim. Do you understand what I'm saying? I talked about gifting, I talked about talent and uniqueness, and I mentioned that a fish naturally knows how to swim. The fish now saying, I want to learn how to climb a tree. You're going to be killing that fish. I mean, that fish will be killing itself. It's suicide mission. So you need to understand your strengths and stay in your area of strength. Grow in your area of strength. So the fish can say, okay, I know how to swim in this area of the sea. I want to learn how to swim in the other area of the sea. So you learn your strength and then grow and improve in that area of which you have been naturally endowed. You would benefit more if you do that than you know that this is not your area of strength and then you want to now start growing in that area. You'll be shooting yourself in the leg, and that will not be you in Jesus' name. So wisdom demands that you discover your strengths and you begin to grow in them. Now, I talked about the monkey that knows how to climb a tree naturally. Now, the monkey can learn how to climb higher on the tree. The monkey can learn how to climb different branches. The more it climbs, the more muscles it's building and the more strength he's accumulating in his hands and in his feet. So also bringing it to real life. I know how to express myself. I know how to talk. I know how to teach. So I am developing in my areas of strength. I'm exercising my muscles. I'm learning how to write. I'm learning how to put together courses. I'm learning how to express myself in different ways. I'm talking now in a video. I'm learning how to do that. So the more I am growing in my strength, the more opportunities I would have, the more opportunities will come to me in the area of my strength. Now, if I say I want to be an actor, it will not be difficult for me because I already know how to express myself. I won't struggle in that area. But if I now tell you that I want to learn how to go and play piano, I will struggle in it. I will struggle in it. Or I'm not saying I cannot learn how to do that. I can learn how to do that. Or let's say I want to start running. I want to be an athlete. I used to run back then in secondary school. When I say I want to start running, I was struggling in it. Or say like I want to start swimming. I want to go and learn how to swim, and I want to go to Olympics. I'm wasting my time. I can do it, but it's not necessary because this is my area of specialty. This is where I am naturally talented. So I'm going to build on this strength. I'm going to learn how to increase my capacity on this strength. So what are your strengths? Build on your strength. You don't have to delve into start learning new things in your area of weaknesses simply because maybe you want to prove a point or whatnot. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is what are your weaknesses? What are your flaws? In every area of your life, it is important that you know your flaws. It is important that you know your weaknesses. Know how you behave in every setting. For instance, a lot of people don't know how to manage their finances. If your finances are always going down, something is definitely wrong somewhere. And it's not because you're not earning enough money. It is simply because you don't know how to manage your funds. When you're not earning enough money, there'll be a different result. But when you're earning enough money or when you're earning small money, you don't know how to manage that small, who's going to give you big money? Okay. And one of the reasons why your finances will go down is a lack of integrity when you don't know how to be honest with yourself when it has to do with your finances. So what are those flaws in your life? Why are you always having a relationship that will not last up to 3 weeks? What are you doing wrong? And most times these flaws are blind spots. We don't see them. And we always blame every other person. We blame God, we blame our parents, we blame our moms, our dads, we blame siblings, we blame our friends, and we blame the chicken. We blame everything. We blame NEPA but ourselves. We blame everybody but ourselves. Whenever you notice that something is not going on right in your life, your first point of call should not be to start complaining and murmuring and blaming everyone. Your first point of call should be, what am I not doing right? What is it that I'm doing wrong? And that will point you out for your flaws. And I think if every human being on earth can actually learn how to what's that thing called? Introspect. Every mommy can learn how to do that. We will be left with little problems to solve. Okay, so the government, we are complaining the government this, the government that, but what about us? What about us? What about the citizens? Can it just be only the government's problem? There is a part, there is a role the citizens are playing. You buy pure water, you drink it, you throw it on the road, and then we are complaining about flood. What makes the canals to get blocked? Is it not the pure water sachets? Is it not the cans you're throwing on the road? You drink juice in the vehicle and you fling it on the road. You eat banana and you fling it on the road. You're part of the problem. In fact, you're 90% of the problem. The government is in Aso Rock, for instance, in Nigeria, and they don't know that this is what you're doing, and they have to deal with floods every year. I'm not saying that that is the entire cause of flood, but if you can take care of your trash properly, we would have at least 20% of the problems on our hands when it has to do with floods. Because majority of the reason for flood is the canals, the waterways that are blocked. And what blocks them? Human beings. What did they do? They are throwing away trash in the gutter. Oh, I did not throw it in the gutter. I threw it on the road. What happened when rain falls? It washes it into the gutter and then into the waterways. You can do better, but you need to know where you're getting it wrong so that you know what to do about it. You cannot know where you're getting it wrong if you're not honest with yourself. I There was a time I kept on asking myself, why is it I'm always getting broke? What's going on with myself? And I was getting into debt. I've noticed that I'll have money shortly after I had a huge amount of money. Debts, I would always, go into debts. I would start borrowing, borrowing. Oh, what is going on? And I had to sit down with myself and tell myself the truth. Okay, what's happening? I'm not buying food in bulk. Do you understand? When you buy food small, small, like food stock, you buy 1 cup of rice, you're spending more money. But when you buy a butter of rice, you're going to save money. So I'm not buying food in bulk. I'm buying it small, small, and it's making me, spend more. Okay, so I say, okay, from this money, I'm going to have a pull out 50,000. I'll stock the house with food. And I noticed that when I stock the house with food, I don't spend money like that. So what am I spending my money on? Food stuff. It's food. So why? I had to sit down with myself and start thinking and start, okay, I'll buy things in bulk. I'll buy house supplies first when money comes into my account after tithing and giving my offering and kingdom investments. I'm going to stock my house with food. And when I started doing that, I noticed that I saved more money and I was no longer borrowing because most of the borrowing was because there was no food stuff in the house. I have to replenish them and it's still buying in small, small. So by the time I sat down with myself, told myself the truth, I came out of that problem. I didn't pray. Yes, I asked the Lord to help me to know where I'm getting it wrong and so I'll be able to fix it. But it was not 2 hours prayer of bind and casting and no now. So what are the areas of your flaws? There was a time that I've not been in a relationship longer than 3 months. After 3 months, oh to Lord, bye bye, please don't stress my life. And I realized that why don't I have relationships that last longer than 3 months? I have not. And the other relationship I had was close to a year or so. We tried 8 months. That was nice. That was 8 months. That was really nice. And then later on, I began to think to myself, like, what is really going on with me? Is it that I cannot, have a relationship that will last longer? And then I realized that I am the one that runs away fast. Like I don't like stress. Don't stress me. Look at me now. Don't stress me. I'm a self-care. I don't like stress. So when I notice that you're beginning to stress me, you don't keep to your word, I don't want to give you a chance to speak. I don't want to give you a chance to, to start fumbling and coming back to say you're sorry. I don't give men that chance most times. I just don't worry. we are better off apart. I was very quick to do that. So I would chase you away, and or I start giving you attitude and you just get tired and go. But then after the relationship that lasted for 8 months, I learned something. I learned that my patience level was too low. I learned that I was quick to give up on things. I was quick to I don't want to stay, don't stress me, I'll run away. So I had to start learning how to be patient. It's a human being you're dealing with. I had to start learning how to be patient with people. I had to start learning how to, because I'm a perfectionist by nature. I expect that you know what to do. And when you don't know what to do, you're stressing me out. My mind cannot take it. So I had to start learning. And that period, I prayed a prayer. I said, God, please give me a large heart. Because one of the reasons why you cannot accommodate people is when your heart is too small and when you're too selfish. Yeah, when you're selfish. Everybody's generally selfish, but when your own is too much, you cannot accommodate people. So I was honest with myself. I sat and was like, okay, God, please renew my attitude towards life and towards myself and towards the people around me. And then I started learning how to accommodate. Before I live alone, don't come and stay in my house. If you stay in my house up to like up to like maybe you came in the morning and it's by 4 o'clock, I go down the pursue you. Later they go back where you come from. Because I like my personal space. I like my space. I like it to myself. So I don't like people coming into my space like that. So I started to learn how to accommodate, how to really stretch and started having more people in my space. And now I can comfortably live with a lot of persons. I can comfortably before I grew up as an only child. So that was like the side effect of that. If you know what I'm talking about, please reach out to me. Let me not feel like I'm alone. Okay, so I started learning how to adapt and how to be accommodating, and then I discovered that, oh, okay, I can actually take a lot of things. I can, I started learning and I started improving, but that wouldn't have happened. I would have still been narrow-minded if I had not taken the time to discover that, okay, this is what I do and this is the patterns I exhibit in my relationship, and I started working on them. So if you don't know your flaws, if you don't know your weaknesses, you won't know what you need to improve on. So please be honest with yourself. Write it down in 5 or 4 areas. I'm going to give you them. The first area in your finances. What are you struggling with? What are the challenges you're facing in your finances? And how are you contributing to those problems? Okay. And then the second aspect is in your relationships. Are you always having, do you have plenty friends who don't like you? There must be something you're doing wrong. Are you always proud? You need to check that too in your relationships, not just boyfriend girlfriend relationship, but normal relationship. Are you able to keep people who are older than you and who are bigger than you, who are ahead of you? Are you able to relate with those kind of people, or the only people you can relate to are people in your class? You need to check that too. The third area you need to check is your spiritual life. Is your spiritual life, are you growing spiritually? How are you treating God? Any are you saucy towards God? Are you always complaining towards him? Are you always going to God only when you need something, and after he has given to you, you disappear? Pum, they will not see you again in church, or you'll never even pray again because you've gotten what you wanted. You need to check it. And the last area you need to check is your personal life. How do you relate with yourself? Are you hard on yourself? Do you always, talk down on yourself? Do you always discourage yourself? How do you handle yourself? How do you relate with yourself? How are you behaving towards yourself? And that draws us to the end of this section. I believe it was amazing.